10 people in the house already.
Yeah, welcome everybody.
Let's see. We're going to roll it out in just a minute. These shows resonate with you. Please share. Sound is working. So we can stay ahead of the algorithms suppressing us. Every time we start to shine, they start to come down on us. We got 21 people. And thank you for sharing, everybody, because it's kept us in the good numbers, like, 70 to 100 these last few days. And that's good. That's good. So thank you all for your continued love, support, and contributions. We've got a special show, 5th show of the day. Probably have another radio show tonight. I'm going to get the archives of the videos and some of the music and Soul Speak, and maybe do a little rapping. We'll do that tonight later. But this is the last of the talk shows today, called Soul Speaks 5D. It's a conversation with, and today we've got a very special guest we've been trying to hook up for like 6 months. And so let me read a little backdrop on her. Most of you know her already, so it's not going to be a big surprise to you. But obviously our guest, as you know, is Emily Harrison. After becoming a certified Akashic Records practitioner in 2015, Emily's life dramatically changed, leaving behind a career in Hollywood. Emily created a healing business that includes teaching and speaking and contributing to the Huffington Post and mentoring other light workers in the Akashic Records. Emily is founder, director of the Akashic Academy, a modern-day mystery school dedicated to sharing knowledge and that is changing the planet. Also, she brought up a couple of things that we're going to get into, but I'm going to go ahead and reference it now. A guided journey into the Akashic Records to activate the emergence of our innate knowledge. So she's going to share a little modality with us, a little transmission, channeling, download, whatever you want to call it. Welcome, everybody. It's good to see you. Renee Zimbia, my old friend Tom Whitebear, Paul Castaneda, Diane Richards, Delia Flores, Barbie Steiner down in Florida, Fiona Carthrew, Elfie Shantz, Ryan Aguilar, my homeboy, the Beast on the guitar, Sashi Hawes, Sandra Mathis. Good to see you. Got to get you back on here. Sue Davino, Patty, Angel Divine, Raquel Toombs, Vicky Hunter O'Donnell. Honey Borden is going to be on in a few days. Sandy Hunt, Andrea, Andy Falcone, Shane Kettle, Rita Gabriel Tomei, Sophie Thornalley down in Adelaide, South Australia, Lizzie Manita, Valerie Peterman, Jess Flex Raider, Eva Alton, Rebecca Williams. Thank you so much for adminning the Soulogy group single-handedly with very little help from me. And there's a lot of other people, but they're just coming in way too fast. So welcome, Emily Harrison. Thank you for sharing space with us today. And thank you for honoring us with your presence. And it's great to do a collaboration, Soulogy and Akashic Academy.
It truly is a collaboration. It's my honor as well, friend. I shared this space and just set the intention right now because I can feel the power of everyone showing up in this space. Those names that you had a moment to read, I was just tapping in, sending all of you guys energy, everyone connected to you, everyone who's here. Thank you for being here. Like Todd said, that this has been a while in the making. So what a privileged moment we get to sit here. And I feel it running through my body. I'm happy I have my grounding mats right here in my office. Oh, let's bring it in. Let's bring it in.
Yeah, man. It's like been, it's really been, I mean, I've been talking about it all day on the shows, but yesterday was just like, whoa, man. It was like this, it was like being in Pulp Fiction. I watched Reservoir Dogs the other day. It was like being in Reservoir Dog, Quentin Tarantino, where you've got like future, past, it's all happening like
graphic novel happening right in your face. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so it was like this string of events that occurred. Each one of them was a vortex in itself. And then it seamlessly transitioned into another one, from an experience to a show to an experience to a show. And it was like they were all talking to me in perfect symmetry, like I was reading a book. And then it just exploded about 4 o'clock this morning. I had previous in the night, I had an experience out in the field where I got wrapped up in this vortex. I could actually see with my eyes, and it saw it come out of my heart and all this other stuff. And people are reporting this, reporting different formations of clouds, starships, what we would once have called natural anomalies occurring in the natural sky or world. So it's happening everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere. And I know you've got a seat similar to mine. I watched some of your stuff. It's very cool. I love your energy. What's been going on in your world?
Well, a lot of that really cool stuff that you're talking about, I work with students, mentoring them in the Akashic Records, and some themes that my students are working with right now. We're seeing the breakdown of the time-space continuum, like is happening in your life, where you look around at the people who are with you, and it becomes an undeniable moment, whether you have dove down the metaphysical rabbit hole or not. We're just all standing around looking at each other, dumbfounded, being in these portals. We are having access now to previously unseen experiences. And we're also in a time where the veils are becoming very thin. And so the bleed through in terms of what humans can access, along with us raising our consciousness as a collective, it's opening a lot more access. And yeah, we can see, you talk about the Quentin Tarantino movie, these are intensely saturated in visual and color. Mm-hmm. When we begin to think about that in our real life, we begin to become activated through our eyes.
Yeah.
And we begin to actually have experiences like you did in the field, where you see the vortex. People are having experiences where they're seeing these dark shadows in the corners of their eyes. This is because the shape of our eye shifts and bends the light. So you're actually seeing into a different dimension with your peripheral. But what happens as soon as you go to look at it? You change your field of vision so you no longer see it. But as we begin talking about these things, as you guys hear, oh, wait a second, I see shadows out of the corner of my eyes. Let me listen to that. And we begin as a collective to share knowledge in the way that the ancients did, right? In this oral tradition way of talking and connecting with each other, which is missing in our society, but not anymore.
That's
because we're creating the space. Then we really begin to make this transition more visceral, more perceivable. We begin to wrap our head around it more dynamically. But it's really interesting. Hollywood, movies, storytelling, we are actually being, I believe, prepared and moved in our energy field by the stories that we're presented in our society that prepare us for this.
Yeah.
So Quentin Tarantino knows a little something about human consciousness and what we can gather, the information that we can gather when we tune into our senses. And that's really what the Akashic Records are all about. When you become very aware and acute in your senses, you begin to perceive life from higher and higher levels of consciousness. And there's an access point, a tool called the Akashic Records that we can all use to perceive life from a very high frequency and gather information, gather insight, gather creative ideas that are beyond our current capacity as a human being.
Yeah. And it's moving rapidly too.
Fast, baby.
Really, really fast. I mean, like in the last 2 days, I was telling the story earlier. I lost my keys. I didn't lose them. I was in the same room, and within an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 times they disappeared. That's how I put it. And I would go to sit on the couch. I'd say, okay, I'm going to go back to where I was. And the third time, and I would find them. And the third time I'm laughing about it, and I found them in the trash can. There was a box fan in my living area, and I had going, and I never really looked at it because I never really used it. I just moved in the apartment, I turned it on sometimes. And so I'm walking through, the kitchen light's on, the room I'm coming from, just a computer light. I look down at the box fan, which is just a typical square box fan with a light blue frame on it. And I look down at it, and it's as wide as my fingers, but it's like this. And I'm looking over it, and I did a double take. I said, I am seeing that. And it was like looking into something that had been like a mold, like a mold, kind of like one of those snow globes.
Yes.
You know how it has the scene in it. And I looked down into it, and I stared at this thing for 2 or 3 minutes. And I literally had to refocus my eyes to say, what does that really look like in 3D? And then, of course, it was a flat 2-dimensional surface, you know. But you know, the message was very clear to me, because I'm seeing more and more of this. I'm seeing little cracks and corners in seams, you know, in the visual, in the matrix.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, wow, you know, it's just a little bit more is being shown every single day, you know. So I'm with you. I think we need to keep talking about it, which is
we got to keep talking about it. I wasn't somebody who was born into this incarnation awake. So I didn't have a lot of I had crazy experiences as a kid, but it wasn't clear to me what was going on. I didn't have guides that were presenting themselves, showing me along my path. So this has been a real journey for me to dive in and learn and to wake up these intuitive muscles that allow you to perceive these things that Todd's talking about. And I know from my own experience, and I realize this is part of my divine blueprint because many are like me coming into the planet right now. We can go through this everyman process of learning how to dynamically use these muscles and get information. Now, Todd, when you were telling that story, I was just tuning in a little bit. I'm like, all right, what's going on? What is going on? Like, what is he seeing? And they were bringing my awareness to another pattern that's coming through that, I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about, which is why I'm happy that the records exist so we can get these scientific minds to dive in more to this topic. Yeah. But the idea of what it looks like to plasmically deconstruct our physical being and begin to change that. And this is high-level alchemy that we're talking about. Yeah. Similar to things like controlling the weather, the gift of influence. I live right outside of Lake Tahoe. So anytime I'm going up to get my kids in school or anything, I'm driving like from the valley floor up into the forest. And I've experienced some crazy things that Spirit's working with me to bring my awareness and my understanding about how these things work, because these are high-level skills that we're talking about. Even breaking through, I'm going to be honest with you guys, even breaking through that barrier where you will allow yourself to see in the physical plane is a high-level skill. It means that you have transmuted and neutralized enough of your fear that when you begin perceiving, your fear is not going to be triggered. One of the reasons that the extraterrestrial beings respect the space here is because as soon as they come into it, if they strike fear in us, and motherfucker, pardon my French. I speak French if you've seen a couple of my shows, Todd.
Well, we do too. This is culture, so it's all cool.
If a being were to show up here right now in my office, I would still be like, oh, okay, guys, they're here. It would still be like it still wouldn't be super 100% normal yet. I've transmuted enough of it where I think I would keep myself reasonably together. But if I were out walking in the field in the middle of the night, it might scare me. And when that fear comes up, what happens is you're then karmically responsible to deal with all of that fear that comes up. And if you're not ready or haven't transmuted that enough, that kicks you into a little crazyville.
Yeah, it does. You know, I've talked about it on these shows, you know. I mean, Morgan and I started having mutual ones in our bedroom when we were together last summer, 2018. And then this go around before she left, we had a few. Speaking of walking in a field, right? You know, what you're talking about happened to me the other night. What I was talking about, this energy in the field. It was the first time, because I'd had 2 or 3 days in a row of visitation, of things happening. And so I'm in the field and I see these individual energies, kind of like a team or a group, and they all formed in front of me, and I'm looking at them like it looks like the Predator character in Predator, you know, where you can see the energy. And I'm looking at them and I'm saying to myself, you know, like, how deep do you want to go? Are you ready? Because I'm thinking, are you going to materialize and take more form? Because I've seen a little bit of that.
Are you about to go on a trip somewhere?
Well, I didn't know. I mean, well, that's what I thought. That's what I thought next. What
we're facing in that moment is big.
Exactly.
Oh.
So it went from that. I opened my heart and I said, I invite you into my heart, right? Because I had a little bit of fear and I wanted to negate it. I just said, I got full trust. So then they started to swirl around me. Now this is in the physical, right? And I'm seeing it, and that's what I thought. It's so funny what you said, because I thought, oh, wait a minute, are they like putting me in this, you know, like this jump room or something? Am I going to head out somewhere?
Plasmic field vortex there, yes.
Yeah, and then the craziest thing happened. It stopped, and it was like someone pushed my chest back, and I could see that same energy coming out of my heart. And at that point, I was going, okay, wait a minute, did I do this? Or did I just connect with this? Or did they come into me? Because I could definitely see the energy going outward, you know. So I don't know what to make of it. Like so many.
Well, would you like to know what's coming in right now for you from the Akashic records? It's kind of fun to have that in your back pocket. So when you invited them to come in into the heart space and you saw that experience, that was them taking that last bit of fear out. I do feel like there was a plasmic beginning of a plasmic reconstruction within your cellular structure, so that this kind of travel can be possible for you. I actually feel like there will be stages that you will go through in kind of like an initiation where they prepare your cellular, physical, emotional, mental structure. A lot of it will have to do in dream time as well. And you'll begin, what I'm hearing is that you'll begin to experience that, like a deja vu in the dream, what you experienced before in the field, like in a portal. And they'll begin to be able to take you intergalactically. And you get to drop in on some intergalactic schools, looks like, and get some powerful information.
Well, so. Plasma is a big word that jumps out at me. That was a plasma-looking thing. The thing with the box fan was the first thought I had was plasma.
Was it?
It looked like plasma. Yeah, it actually
that was the first thing I heard.
I had to sit there and stare at it, and I have had experiences, and I think what you're talking about is what I'm feeling, which is actually having almost like a physicality. Almost having like a physicality, a pure, a total consciousness when these things happen, as opposed to some things that happen in the past.
They're just telling me right now, it has a lot to do with the telomere.
What's that?
So telomere are like antennae that come up on our cells that allow our cells to receive information. It's a very important part of what you can almost look at it as like a translator of the photonic light they're showing me as it comes into the cell. Because we're bringing a lot of light, this photonic light, into our cells right now. And the telomere have been destroyed. When the telomere is shortened, our lifespan is shortened. And I can't remember where this information came in. It came in outside source. It did not come in from the records like what I'm transmitting for you guys now. But the information that was talking about in terms of the Illuminati, Kabul, when you think of those forces out there that are messing with things, there was evidence of a genetic modification in the telomere of human beings that drastically took our antenna down, downgraded our ability to use and assimilate the information that's coming in. So there are many of us who are experiencing this drastic reinstallation of the telomere, re-strengthening of the telomere. And once the telomere becomes intact, like I said, that antenna of transmuting information of how to plasmically rearrange, which again is beyond my ability to put words that sound very sciencey and smart to it. But just think of like basic alchemy. Your cells have the ability to receive the knowledge to make that rearrangement. Now, just because your telomere is starting to shoot up, and now I'm talking to collective you, I'm not talking specifically to Todd. This is the collective you. This is happening everywhere, by the way. Your level of consciousness, whatever you've done to this point to go inward, to raise your frequency, to be willing to shift and change your own world, which basically means taking a look at where you're showing up and you're being an asshole and you need to stop, right? And you need to create peace. And you need to be the example of tolerance in your life, and you need to meditate, and you need to eat nutrition-dense food,
and you need to keep your mouth shut sometimes.
Are you talking to me right now because I'm talking too much?
No. I was referring to one of the key things I learned from Morgan, which is as energies come to you, people come to you, and it's, she'd say to me, and I'd say, well, so-and-so such and such, and they're like, hey, if you know it, why do you got to say it? And I started going, whoa, and applying it. And what I realized was the more I engaged that, the bigger it became. Somebody comes at you. She uses the analogy of a tennis match. They hit the tennis ball over. You can say, okay, and let it just sit there, or you can hit it back. That's what I was talking about in terms of when you're being an asshole. Sometimes you just got to keep your mouth shut. Another thing that you said to me earlier was about the preparing the plasma conversion, that type of thing. Interesting thing was what happened before that happened outside was I was in bed and I received a transmission or a visit like I never had before, because it usually comes in with some images or something, some kind of message. This was strictly the body. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I wake up out of lucid dreaming. I am shaking. The room is freezing. And I mean, it's like nothing mental, nothing emotional, really, just strictly the physical sensation of the body, just like almost like somebody shot me out of my body. Felt like, you know.
I love that you're bringing awareness to the physical body, because the past several months I have dove in back into Tai Chi and Qigong practice. This was something that activated me 20 years ago. I didn't realize at the time because I didn't see, I was on the spiritual path at that point in time. Yet this divine, and I call him a master. I know the Tai Chi, though they don't call themselves masters, but in a form of honor, I call this man a master. Yeah, yeah. And he was training my boyfriend, who then became my husband, and I in Los Angeles. And I recognized that that activated my physical vessel to hold enough high bandwidth, high frequency from the telomeres that are coming on, right? That I could begin to process this information. So I use the physical body, and I've been doing it very recently again, because there are big, big things coming in for the planet, for the Akashic Academy, for me and my students personally, that are so big. I recognize I need more bandwidth in my physical body. We are at the time where this is transitioning, where it is manifesting, becoming malleable in the physical world that we experience. So the template for that is through your body, your physical body. Yeah. So pay particular attention to the physical body at this point in time.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's one thing I've been noticing too, is like over these last few days, I've been eating like a horse, man. I mean, I got off this last show, I had 2 cans of tuna and 2 tacos. You know, I just was like,
you're on a growth spurt. I'm a mama of teenagers. You're on a growth spurt. I love it.
Yeah. So, hey, tell us.
You're also, oh, by the way, they're saying, sorry, more messages coming in from you. Follow the cravings that are coming in for you right now, because even if it's weird and it seems like something that's outside of your diet, like something random, like they're just showing me as an example, like Coca-Cola. Okay. Yeah, because there are elements that are being required to be alchemized through this experience that need to be present in your physicality.
Yeah, Jason Estes was on the other day, and he said the same thing about this period. You know, you're going to be wanting things, you know, donuts and, you know, this and that. If it doesn't make sense, just do it. Follow that's what I usually do. You know, that's what I usually do. But I noticed lately that, like last night, I ate a lot, but I woke up this morning and I didn't feel like I had a full stomach. It's like I burned a lot. I burned a lot in the ethers last night. Tell us a little bit about Akashic Academy, how it started, what you do. I know there's a lot of different programs on it, but give us a little rundown on that.
All right. Well, I'll give you the very shortened version from the time that I transitioned from Hollywood, which was my job before. Like many of you guys out there, many of you light workers and healers and coaches who are stepping into new careers, it's part of what the journey looks like, because as society shifts, the services we need shift, the knowledge that we need shifts, the entertainment that we desire shifts. So for me, that creative artistic nature of who I was immediately married to the new Akashic record practitioner. I had enough of Hollywood, enough of the old matrix. I had given away so much of my vulnerability and power. Talk about personal power. I had a lot in my life because I was somebody, I grew up in small town Missouri, abandoned my life in college, quit college, moved to Hollywood to become an actress. So I had experience with drastic timeline shift before in my life, but I got into the place again where I was fed up with this, where it was new and exciting and creative at one point. I had gotten to my bottom. I was depressed. I was sad. I was unfulfilled. All of the things that many people feel before they go through the process of really turning inward, right? I was lucky enough to be in a very open-minded space. California, Hollywood is a very open-minded space. I had access to a lot of different metaphysical knowledge. I dove in, absorbed everything that I could. And got to the point where as I began to practice, just randomly practicing on people because I needed a hobby and I loved doing that, it became undeniable that my skills were turned on. Yeah. I was now getting very clear messages from deceased family members that I hadn't known any connection about that blew even my mind. So when I became an Akashic record practitioner, I thought that I was just kind of following the next crumb, the next crumb, the next crumb. I didn't realize, although I did get a couple hints along the way, because Spirit told me how big and how fast things would take off within the Akashic Academy. So for me personally, I'm starting to do this cool thing called Akashic record readings, and I created a program to train others. I was so turned on by this information, and it was so innately awakened in me very quickly that I knew I had to teach this. I knew that I had a lineage within me that would be a pathway gifted to me by my masters, by my guides, that only me and the students that I train would use this particular way to go into the records. So I downloaded that information. I created that process, created that course. And then I'm like coming on the scene. I'm like, all right, who wants to learn about this? I had no idea how to create a business. I intuitively felt my way through that process until I'd built up enough that I'm like, all right, I need someone else to teach me at this point. And the person that came into my life, Coach Nick Pereira, a lot of you guys know Coach Nick out there. Coach Nick and I became friends. It actually took a long time for our friendship. We had like a surface relationship for a long time, and it took a while, kind of like this, for that meeting and for us to really connect. But once we did and we started working together, he instantly was giving me pieces of the formula that weren't intuitive for me, that was expanding things very quickly. And I just opened and listened. And that process of opening and listening, because he's got a lot of smart shit to say, really allowed this dynamic to begin, this energy to begin to dance between us, where I'll be damned if he didn't start having the exact visions that I've got all written down about what I see for the Academy and what this looks like. Like I'm back to that Missouri girl going to Hollywood at this point in my journey. I'm this little baby spiritual healer with a dream. And then he starts talking about the same projects, the same exact things. So when we recognized that that alignment had been dynamically arranged for us, we're like, all right, we're all in, let's go. And from that point, we've been able to create what you guys know as the Akashic Academy. So in terms of our larger audience, which is growing fantastically quickly, I think we're almost up to about 13,000 followers now, where we were at 1,500 last year.
It's phenomenal.
The Akashic Academy, we offer the Akashic Network, where we have, I think, 25 live stream shows now, weekly live stream shows from energy healers all over the planet. Their areas of knowledge and expertise, they bring practice, so exercises that our audience can dive into so they can get real-time experience. We also have a quarterly magazine that we share free with our larger community, which is a work of art. I have to say, props to our editor, Bridget Sloan. She is a masterful high priestess at what she does. And this is a collection from our community too. We're uplifting our community and the knowledge within our community. So it's a very, very special project just to be able to lift those two things off of the ground. Yeah. But we've also been able to create a membership program. So for those who want to dive in deeper and they want to show up to live workshops on Facebook every single week, Coach Nick and I are showing up teaching workshops. We're also conducting, I should say. You don't really teach moon ceremonies, ancient ritual for our community. But this level of bonding in sacred cosmic space, because when we recognize you can harness the cosmic energies, the cycles of the moon, to create powerful growth in your life. And we're doing that. Not only holding space for individually what our community holds dear, but the collective. We're building something that is so different. It's not built on competition. It's built on collaborating and holding each other up and creating space for all of these templates of tolerance, peace, uncovering of knowledge. So we're a true online mystery school, bringing access to this knowledge for people who want to dive in right here on the internet. Yeah. And for those who want to get really, really deep, and I'm talking like 3 to 4 month apprenticeship, I have students that I take through the process of learning how to read the Akashic records. Yeah. I have about 30 students right now who I'm walking through that process. And I can tell you the things they are creating in their lives and shifting and change, I sit like this
It's like
every week in our
like a
meetings.
group energy, an ongoing, continuous group energy work session.
Yes. And it just continues to build. Everyone who contributes to this space, past, present, and future, is contributing to the synergy. But because at the helm, we have leaders and light workers who know this, bringing that awareness to what we're doing continues to magnify it, which is truly why I believe things are happening so quickly for us at the Academy, is because we're not only presenting powerful, valuable knowledge and experience for people, but we're aware of what we're doing, and we're dynamically telling everyone else, be aware of how you're shifting, changing, growing. Share this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it sounds a lot like the Soulogy energy. It's adding additional frequencies and ever expanding vibration. It's just a mirror of the universe. And, and so there's a lot of Akashic Academies. There's a lot of Soulogys. They're everywhere, and everything. You know, as the individual goes, or as the energy of an organization goes, so goes the collective. And that's what like we were talking at the top of the show. You know, it's like the game is on now. The game is on, and these things are happening every day now, all day long.
There are more messages coming in for you, just to make this whole experience more visceral for you. Yes, and I've gotten this for many months, and when they first showed me, I was like, holy shit, really? They showed me the Akashic Academy here on Earth. This is like the Akashic Academy West. Think of it. There's Akashic Academy Pleiades, and there's Akashic Academy Sirius. Like, they're all over the place, right? Mm-hmm. This is just, I have the opportunity and privilege of being one of the vessels that ushers this in to this present time, just like Soulogy, right? So what they're saying is, think of this very, very viscerally. Well, we're sort of in cyberspace here, so it's not quite as, but we all get this, right? We're all like, oh yeah, this makes sense. I know what Todd does and what information and what Emily does and what information she brings. Think of Todd and Emily's all over the galaxy with their schools and all of these rooms that you can go visit. So these beings that are coming and showing up and preparing you for this type of visit, they're just karmically presenting you access to what you're doing here for everyone else. So you're going to these other areas and getting to learn from all of their light being specialists and all of the fields where they have knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Have fun, dude. Take me too. Say, go pick up Emily. She's in the forest. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. Ask me.
What's it like? You said you had kids. Did you say teenagers?
I have 3 children from 15 to 9.
Okay.
9, 12, and 15. So yes, there is a teenager and a preteen in there.
Yeah. So what's it like? What's it like navigating this transition we call ascension with kids in the house? And what are they like? I mean, in terms of, I don't mean specifically them, but having that energy in your house, especially with 3 different ones to look at.
I love that you asked me that question, because I was actually just honored this week by HBO's Inspiration Room. They bring forward stories from women from the 1800s. And I wrote a story about psychic mom handling puberty with my kids. And I was lucky enough to have that featured there. So I'll go back and share that in the link later on here.
Absolutely, yes.
But thank you. It's been such an organic process because, as you guys can see, I don't hold much of myself in. I kind of spill over the edges a little bit. I'm this way in my life with my kids too. So things, in terms of all of the energy healing kind of tools and the sound bowls, and I've got elixirs, like they've always been exposed to this kind of stuff. They've always been exposed to tuning their awareness to their breath at night when we go to bed in meditation. We go as woo-woo as heal yourself, white light, bring white light in. Vivian, my daughter's very good at using scalar energy, using her arms like this. They got a lot of crystals and things in the house.
Wow.
So it's interesting. They're really open. My kids are phenomenal. They're very deep. They know how to communicate their feelings. Yeah. They're kind. They're so smart. And yet they're assholes, and they drive me crazy sometimes, you know. And I learned my biggest lessons because they put my own patterns and habits in my face that I want to shift and change. But what's cool is that I've been very open and forgiving of myself as I go along this process, because those little people point out to lots of areas where I can grow.
Yeah.
And early on in my own parenting journey, I was able to embrace that and admit that I was wrong and say that I was sorry to them. And it's really created a cool dynamic in these human beings.
Yeah, amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun to raise them. Big job, but fun.
So do they give you glimpses? Do you see like their higher vibration? A lot of people talk about, you know, with the kids. I know when I first woke up, I had a couple, my youngest two teenagers, young teenagers, same type of scenario. And I just had to finally, you know, living with them in a house, you know, tried the old way of, you know, you need to clean your room and you need to do this, you're going to do that. And then fought them week after week and had big lectures every Friday where Dad threw things. And finally, I just put my hands up. I said, look, I'm just going to let their energy flow. And everything changed. And I learned a lot. I particularly learned a lot, other than Morgan, I learned a lot about the divine feminine from these two girls, about how their energy is different than my masculine energy, and how if you allow it and accept it, you know, don't look at the dirty house, look at the you know, the joy and the bliss and the peace that's flowing through the house. You know, do you see that in your kids?
Well, I've been through an interesting experience, but what's cool is I feel like this is evidence of how we begin to grow and evolve just as a collective. You said that you finally got to that point when you had teenagers where you let go. So I remember the distinct moment when I'm still learning to get good at it, but I remember this distinct moment where I'm like, all right, it's slapping you upside the head. You got to let go. Yeah. My kid was 2. So I got to experience this when he was 2. I had another one coming. I was insisting that only one in diapers at a time. I'm not buying two different sizes diapers when I go to the store. So that means 2-year-old, you got to learn to pee and poop in the toilet, which he's scared to death to do. And I'm forcing the issue. And I've been forcing the issue for about a month now. And I decided that today's the day you're not getting off the toilet until you go. So we have a standoff. This is my middle one, right? And he's sitting there and he's crying, wanting to get off. And I'm getting to the point where I'm getting so worked up and I'm crying too. And I'm literally such a bad mom, holding him on the toilet. He's trying to climb off. And I'm like holding him down, like, no. And guess who won? He won. I did not win. Finally, I put him down. He falls asleep, crying so hard. His poor little body shaking. I'm a mess. Yeah, I'm a mess. And finally, like once I get neutral enough that I can hear Spirit just says to me, Emily, like, what grown man do you know that shits his pants in a diaper? I'm like, none. And they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. He's going to get there. Let it go. This is not a problem. The only problems are the ones that you are creating right now.
The have-tos, the deadlines, right?
And it freed me to be like, all right, we're on different timelines. We're on different schedules. We're going to grow as we grow. Let's do this. Because that was miserable.
Oh, yeah. No, I can relate. I raised 6. So, you know, another thing that a lot of people are talking about is, you know, we're leaving this 3D paradigm. The structuring, the control, the framing up things, the old business models don't apply anymore. I know that and I've talked about it in Soulogy, we've had a lot of starts and stops, you know, start, stop, blow it up, start, stop, blow it up.
Yeah, bulldoze it.
And so I've seen how it's begun to flow and how things are coming to us.
Yes.
And accelerating very rapidly as well. Have you had a similar journey at Akashic Academy? What's your experience been trying to build an energy such as that, a 5D energy?
Yeah, same. Build, bulldoze, build, bulldoze. Those are the words. That's the vocabulary that I use. I actually have I recognized the last time that a big project came up and Nick and I bulldozed it. I was like, oh, hang on a second. Should I be upset about this? We just put all this time at bulldoze into it? Why am I not upset? I'm like getting ready to respond and like at least be disappointed, right? Because when you restart, and then I realized, oh, wait, I'm not attached to that anymore. This is part of the process. And I wrote this down. This is evidence of that plasmic malleability that is happening within our world. Why would we think that it's just going to all of a sudden look like? No, it goes through our physical world first. And if we label it as, oh, this looks like it's, and we put a story to it that it's breaking down, then we're actually just falling back into the 3D.
Yeah.
We need to see the bigger picture, that this is what it looks like. It looks like, you know how many times Apple restructured in the beginning? Many, many times. This is part of what we need to embrace about the creative process. And our creative artists have been squelched from a very young age. So the creative process no longer feels like a space where we're comfortable. But any artist will tell you, whether you're a writer or a painter or a dancer, you're choreographing a new dance, it looks like this. This is what the creation process looks like. So embrace it and participate with it instead of letting yourself get attached to a story about it that isn't even your story anyway. Your true story, your true story about creativity wants to dive in and play. It doesn't care if things get bulldozed. Tinker toys, baby.
Do you communicate with the consciousness that is Akashic Academy?
Yes.
Yeah. How does that work for you?
The Akashic records are really interesting because not only do people have Akashic records, crystals have Akashic records, locations have records, animals have records, collectives like the Akashic Academy have records. So when I'm tuning in to create content or to do a show, I am energetically tuning in with the collective that has already made a soul agreement to enroll in the Akashic Academy at some point of time and space. So the awareness that I'm bringing in is, all right, I see the bigger picture of what's going on here. How do I need to show up to conduct this properly? And I'll get a lot of different messages. Sometimes it requires something for me specifically to do, like show up on interviews. I hadn't done interviews in a long time because my schedule is really busy. And then Spirit told me, open up to do some interviews. And as soon as I was like, all right, that sounds fun, my schedule filled with these amazing interviews.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm tuning in to see what is necessary for the collective that I need to bring through, it's about being open to making a connection because there's a skill required, a skill set required inside of our space. Ooh, I just got it. Somebody out there. I just heard you. I know you're there. For example, we just brought in a new tapping expert into the academy who's bringing a tapping show in. We didn't have that before.
Right.
So Spirit will attune my awareness to where can I open up and create a divine partnership where we can bring in even more collaboration to continue to uplift and support each other, because it's no one thing is going to be an end all be all for us. We have to continue to learn from each other, to activate each other, to exchange like I talked about from the Coke and the donuts. Look at these as alchemic bits of the universe that we are using to create.
Yeah.
We need to show up and exchange with each other so that we can make sure that we all have all of the nutrients, the minerals required to do the work that we have to do to create the 5D.
There you go. Yeah. And as far as like, do you have anything coming up? Any big initiatives or projects coming up on Akashic Academy that you guys are setting your sights on?
Yes, we have an ambassador program that we have been working on for over a year, and I expect that to roll out in the next 2 weeks. This is actually creating an opportunity for our community to experience abundance, and we haven't really dove into and talked a whole lot about abundance, but abundance in not only finances. I'm going to talk about what we've created that I feel like is masterful. It's going to open up financial possibility for everyone in our community. We're training light workers how to make money and how to sustain themselves, because it's important for people to have flexibility to move across this planet access to resources, access to knowledge, access to experience. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
So we have to start breaking down these old constructs, these paradigms. The ambassador program that we're releasing is creating an opportunity for when those of you who become ambassadors share the Akashic Academy and someone becomes a member underneath you, we're giving back 50% of the membership to the ambassador who brought that person in. Wow. So it begins to, so $44.44 a month is the membership cost. When an ambassador signs someone up, we give back to our ambassadors $22.22 per month for everyone that they bring in. Yeah. So there's a natural incentive and motivation for those people who want to dive in and take these kind of classes that I'm talking about. It ain't cheap to study with me to learn to read the Akashic Records because there's so much value in what I give to people. But I recognize there are a lot of people who are still struggling with that old paradigm. They're still struggling with their jobs. I told a nice, happy story, fat, happy story about being in Hollywood. Guys, I was on food stamps for a lot of that time. Okay, I won't bullshit you. There are times when I was making over 6 figures a year in my acting, and there are times when I didn't work for 8 months, and thank God I was getting food stamps, or my kids wouldn't have gotten food. So it was very much like this. So this is a big part of my blueprint that I want to create the stability. And we're creating it. All you have to do to participate is share. You don't have to sign off on a work day. You don't have to show up to a job you don't like. All you have to do is love people and share it. And eventually what happens is you're going to build up this love account where you want to take that money and go buy groceries for your family, fine. Hey, maybe you want to take that money and you want to dive into some deeper learning and some knowledge. Now you've created that pathway for yourself without having to give away your time, your most valuable thing, your time, your presence.
Now, you said that you might want to dip into the Akashic, offer up something to the crowd here.
Only if you guys want to. You guys want to?
Yeah.
Let's hear him say yes. Let's hear him say yes.
They're raising the roof. Can't you hear them?
Oh. All right. Well, if you guys are up for releasing some of that innate knowledge within you, I'm going to share a little powerful something that I learned from, and I told you guys, I'm all about the Qigong and the Tai Chi. I actually went to this conference because I knew that we're rolling out this ambassador program and it's going to create such a big amount of growth. Energetically, I wanted to be able to hold it in my little body. I'm like, oh, I need to upgrade. I better go get some energy moving. So I want to share with you guys some powerful things that I learned that are way more sciencey than woo-woo. I'll take you in on a little bit of woo-woo. But first, I'll get a little sciencey with you guys. So let's think about the bones for a second. Located within your bones, the DNA of your ancestors. I want you to think of this as your ancient wisdom. Okay, people have been telling you, gurus been telling you for how long you got to go inward to locate your inner wisdom. I want to show you an exercise to get us going here, to get some chi energy moving in our sacred space here, to release that. I want you to offer the wisdom of your ancestors that we are about to release to this collective sacred classroom, this collective vessel that we're creating right now. But you got to get on your feet to do it, all right? So we're going to incorporate just a little bit of physicality. Can you stand up, Todd? Or are you perfectly positioned in your camera that you can't stand up?
Something like that.
All right. So then I'll do the demonstration. You can stay perfectly in your space.
I don't have anything on but a shirt.
Are you going reporter style? You got nothing on or anything? All right. I just have on my yoga pants. You guys are fine with yoga pants, right? All right. So stand up. Get square in the body and the hips. I want you to sink down just a little bit, tipping the hips forward. And we're going to begin to bounce and just bouncing like this. So when we bounce like this, we're creating a friction within the bones that releases something called piezoelectric energy. All right? I want you to engage your arms while you're doing this bounce. I call this the ancient energy from the ancestors. Science calls it piezoelectric energy. Turn to the side. When you twist, you're going to engage the spine. the sacred spinal fluid. So we want to engage some of that, twisting back. Science is going to tell you that this is going to have benefits in your body, like reducing pain, like sharpening your mental clarity, and like boosting your overall immune system. All right. But I'm going to tell you, it's going to release your ancient wisdom. Okay. So get super jiggy, 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 and then stop and turn your awareness inward and feel that energy. Offer that energy to the space, everybody. All right. Now I want you guys to get settled in. And I'm going to take you on a journey into the Akashic records, the way that was gifted to me by my ancestors and guides and masters in this space. And you'll only find this with me and my students, so get ready. We always start by honoring the energy of oneness, synchronizing our breath, not only with each other, but with the intention that we are breathing with the cosmos. Okay, so I take a nice deep breath in. Fill up the lungs with air, pausing at the top, getting big in that breath, exhaling. Floating with the cosmos on that exhale. Nice deep breath in. Calling light to you from 360 degrees and pausing at the top of that breath, that 0 point energy, integrating that light. Exhaling. Floating with the universe. Good, nice deep breath in. Expanding, getting big, recognizing this as the nature of the universe, the nature of consciousness is to expand. Allowing this process to happen through you, exhaling. I want you to bring your awareness to a crystalline tube of light now running up and down your spine. And I want you to notice as you breathe in, watch how your breath, your life force energy, rises to the top of that crystalline tube. And as you exhale, the breath falls to the base of the spine. And I want you to just take a moment and pause, acknowledging your breath, your prana, your chi, your life force energy. Acknowledging the inherent consciousness that exists within your breath. And allowing that breath to move up and down through that crystalline tube, through your chakras. Naturally balancing and harmonizing all of those energy vortexes, creating a nice clear space for you to work here today. You don't have to know how it works. We just have to realize this innate consciousness knows. And we have to honor it, illuminate it. With this exhale, I want you to send that crystalline tube down into Mother Earth, and we're going to travel down and make ourselves very grounded into Mother Earth. And as we do, Spirit's coming forward right now, inviting all of you to receive an activation in your psychic senses, in your clair senses. So our clair senses are the way that we get information from Spirit. Spirit speaks to us generally very symbolically. As we become more and more acute with our skills, Spirit begins to communicate very fluidly, telepathically, with words that we understand. But many times in the beginning, Spirit speaks to us with symbols, or in memories, or in feelings. So in order to more dynamically engage your ability to see these symbols popping into your mind, to hear, to feel, to know, those are our clair senses, right? Our inner knowing, feeling, hearing, seeing. I want to invite you to engage your imagination very dynamically. The more you engage your imagination as I take you through this experience into inner earth and then back up into the Akash, the more you will be able to hold this frequency once you leave this higher frequency and begin to receive much clearer messages from Spirit. And again, to do this, you just engage your imagination as we go down into Mother Earth. So bringing that awareness back to that crystalline tube, sending it down through your body, bringing awareness to the feet. We're going to cross over into the upper crust of Mother Earth. And I want you to first experience the upper crust as a loose dirt, warm, sandish kind of space. See it, hear it, feel it, know this space. Moving down into the deeper clay layers of Mother Earth. And then continuing to move down, we're going to move into the root systems of Mother Earth. Again, feel that climate change. Notice the visual aspects. Notice how it feels, how it sounds. Notice that you know this space. Allow yourself to be in a knowingness. Continuing to follow the consciousness down, we're going to enter into the crystalline cave realms now. And again, there's a big transition here in the quality of light, the quality of the sound, the way it vibrates through your body. Activate your knowingness, your relationship here with the crystalline realm. Good, and continuing to follow that crystalline tube down, we're going to move into the sacred underground waters of Mother Earth. Her underground lakes and streams. Feel that visceral shift. Notice how it feels, how it sounds. What do you see? What do you know about this space? Allow yourself to come into your own knowing. And then continuing down one more layer with moving our crystalline tube into the belly of Mother Earth. We come into the liquid crystalline core center, the womb of Mother Gaia. Allow yourself to just be in this magenta crystalline energy floating here in the womb space. Acknowledging, recognizing Mother Gaia is a self-realized consciousness incarnating here as a planetary being, here to support us, to give us space to learn, to grow. It's our sacred classroom, our magical sacred classroom full of resources, full of support, love, wisdom, allowing yourself to become activated by that remembrance of who you are to Mother Earth. And with that remembrance, with that knowing, we're going to activate even more of your innate knowledge as we continue to move back up this crystalline tube. So follow your consciousness back up now. Moving into the sacred underground waters. This time, feel the activation of the consciousness becoming illuminated with all of the knowledge, all of the wisdom, all of the power available here to us from our friend water. Moving up into the crystalline realms, allowing the consciousness and your awareness to become fully activated, fully engaged with your inner knowing of the crystalline realm, bringing you access to the knowledge available, the portals, the gateways that are available, the healing available from the crystalline realm. Following the consciousness back up into the root systems now. Feeling the consciousness illuminate with all of the medicinal knowledge, wisdom that is here on Mother Earth, intertwined in her root systems, all of the support, allowing your consciousness to become aware, moving back up through those upper layers, becoming illuminated with all of the wisdom left from our indigenous ancestors. And with this illuminated consciousness now, bringing that into the body, I want you to bring it into your feet. Feel it as it travels up. Call it up with your imagination, into the ankles, lower legs, knees, upper legs, into your hips, all the way up into the torso, up the back, all the way up into the shoulders. Let it melt down the upper arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, fingertips. Focus on your fingers, your hands, everyone. Focus on the palms of the hands first, putting the awareness in the palms of the hands, allowing those chakras, those portals to become fully open and activated. Send the awareness quickly through each fingertip, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each hand, allowing those chakras and portals to become illuminated and activated. With your activated hands now, reaching over, touching the back of your shoulders, ushering this Mother Earth energy over the top of your head, melting it down around the front of your face, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your chin, your neck, into the heart space, breathing it in. Remember, we're a big tube connected to Mother Earth. call all of that consciousness that we just activated into your body. As you do this, you are going to begin to further activate your dormant DNA. Breathing in, look in, take your inner eyes, look in on your cells, focus on the physical body. See the illumination of the DNA in the physical body, in the bones. As you're breathing this energy in, see it happening. See the illumination of the DNA in the muscles, in the skin, and every physical aspect of your body. Take another deep breath. Call that energy into the emotional aspects of your body. This is represented by the fluids in your body. So calling that Christed consciousness into your blood, into your spinal fluid. Watch this illumination. Watch the illumination of the blood, the illumination of your sacred spinal fluid, of the cerebral fluid, of your sexual fluids, of your saliva. Bring this Christed consciousness energy. Make it available to you in the physical realm. Okay, another nice deep breath. Calling this into the into the mental structures in the body. These are represented by the electrical systems, the electrical neuron pathways that are happening in the heart, in the mind. Breathing this Mother Earth consciousness into your electrical systems, upgrading your ability to receive higher thoughts, to release lower ones. Good. Nice deep breath. Breathe this breath into the light body, into the chakras, breathing Christed consciousness into the chakras, allowing your chakras to upgrade, to hold this higher frequency energy more dynamically for you. And then take one more nice deep breath, calling this realized Mother Earth energy, your innate awoken knowledge, calling it into your plasmic body, pulling that energy all the way up, out the top of the head, into the crown chakra, and then even higher, into the soul star chakra. And then release. Okay, so we've started our experiment here, our alchemization process. We've started with our divine vessel, bringing awareness to our breath, cleansing with our breath. We've activated our innate knowing, supported here through Mother Earth, and brought that back into all aspects of our body. There's one more amazing thing that we can do that will begin to put us into effortless motion and flow. And that is to add the dynamic energy of the Akash. Add the nature of infinite consciousness expanding through love to this formula that we have going in your cellular structure right now. And watch the magic that begins to unfold for you. So let's go get that Akashic energy, bringing the awareness back to that crystalline tube, sending it out the top of your head, all the way up through the room you're in, breaking through the ceiling, all the way up through the atmosphere, breaking through the Earth's atmosphere, passing the moon, passing the sun, passing the solar system, passing our Milky Way galaxy, passing the other galaxies in our universe, slowing down as we come up to that invisible, imaginary boundary of the multiverse where we're going to cross dimensionally over and anchor into the space of the Akash, the ether, the all that is. Nice deep breath in. And we effortlessly anchor that crystalline tube into the Akash, giving yourself just a moment floating in this space, acclimating this higher frequency energy, and then calling down that nature of infinite consciousness. It comes swirling together, diamond, platinum, gold, and light, particles, crystals of light. As it comes spiraling down through your crystalline channel, through the layers of time and space, it enters and integrates into your upper chakras, your upper gateways, harmonizes and balances within the soul star chakra. It's going to spiral down through your crown chakra. Open to receive this 12 chakra activation, everyone. Okay, so just for those of you who haven't activated those new chakras that people are talking about yet, go ahead and open and I'll send this Akash energy through for you guys. So again, starting in that soul star chakra, this is where the I am presence, your higher self, becomes integrated. This chakra is located above your crown chakra. So focusing there, feeling that opening, that activation coming in for you. Then we're going to spiral down into the crown. Crown is above your head. It's where you process cosmic information. It's where you also hold any relationship with God energy. Spiraling down through the third eye, your intuition, your fourth eye, Fourth eye is higher perspective. Into the throat, speaking your truth. Creation, manifesting with truth. Into your higher heart. Into your heart. Down into the solar plexus. Down into your sacral. Sacral being where you're holding a lot of emotions, a lot of guilt, releasing that now. Down into the root, releasing any fear, any anxiety. That Akashic energy continues to spiral down until it moves out your feet, activating the Earth Star chakra below your feet. The Earth Star chakra gives you access to past, future lifetimes. And that Akashic energy continues to spiral till it anchors into the crystalline core center of Mother Earth. And you are divinely held in this magical space. And you are also holding this magical space now within your body. The bridging the marriage of heaven and earth with your divine blueprint. I'm going to now take you guys into the space of your own Akashic records. If there is a piece of information that would be valuable for you to know, I want you to hold that intention within your heart right now. And as we go into the records, I want you to ask with a sincere heart to receive that knowledge that you need, that next piece of information. Allowing yourself to receive it, trusting that you're receiving it. You may not understand it or receive it with actual words. You may receive it with a symbol. You may receive it by just having to sit there and trust that you're receiving it. But holding the intention now that each of you receive that which is valuable for you to move forward on your journey. I'm going to invite you to repeat after me. Todd, you can be the role player here for everybody else. So repeat after me. With this Om, I relax my body.
With this Om, I relax my body.
And now we're going to Om together. With this Om, I relax my mind.
With this Om, I relax my mind.
With this Om, I release my ego.
With this Om, I release my ego.
With this Om, I call in the light.
With this Om, I call in the light.
With this Om, I open the Akashic records of Emily Suzanne Harrison, but you say you.
Okay. With this Om, I open up the Akashic records, Todd Medina.
The records are now open. All right, everyone. The Oms that we sounded together further shift the time-space matrix and continuum as we are moving into a higher state of consciousness here together. So in this space, I want you guys just to take a moment to just receive. Just receive whatever it is that you need from Spirit. Taking just a few breaths, ushering that energy in with the breath, moving it through the body, integrating it into every cell of your body. We've drastically up-leveled those telomeres, so you can likely feel how quickly as you begin to usher that breath through your body, you just relax into a very peaceful state. I want you to, before we leave this space together, turn your awareness inward. So imagine that you can look inward. And I want you to begin to see yourself illuminating from the inside. See yourself becoming bioluminescent. the fascia, which is magical tissue inside of the body, begins to become bioluminescent when it's activated. This is energy that is specifically around the heart and the mind, connecting the heart and the higher mind. It connects the outer essences of our limbs as well. I want you to see yourself in the space of the Akashic Records becoming bioluminescent, becoming a living crystalline version of yourself. Receiving all that is here, and then we'll close up the records and I'll let you guys get back to your hot Saturday nights. Okay. And then before we close up the records, we just want to acknowledge all healing, all expansion that comes forward in this space. Also acknowledging once again that frequency of oneness, recognizing anytime any one of us experiences an upgrade, it then becomes available for everyone in the universe.
True that.
So with one final Om, we'll close up the Akashic Records. The records are now closed.
Thank you for that. Thank you for taking us through that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for collaborating. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for what you're doing. And all blessings to you and yours.
Thank you.
Everyone
I'm
at
here.
Academy.
I mirror all of that back to you. It's beautiful that there's been a lot of collective build in both of our organizations, that now that we're meeting, this is a massive synergy of knowledge and availability that we've just created space for. It's like two galaxies colliding. But did you know that when two galaxies collide, there's actually so much space in between that there's not much actual big boom that happens. There's enough space that they just entangle and dance.
There you go. And
create
a third energy.
That's right.
There you go. You take care. Thank you so much.
You too, friend.
All right.
It was awesome. Bye, everybody. Thanks for having me.